Our guest in this segment is Jim Dovell, or Dovell, I'm sorry. I had three options and I messed them all up. Jim, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great to have you with us. And also via telephone, Amber Ravenscroft joins us via phone. Amber, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great to have you with us. Now, Bill sent this idea to me, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago. Bill, how did you come across this idea?
Through President Hendricks at Shepherd, and talking about the program they're going to have the end of this month, and she suggested I get in touch with Jim, which I did. It sounds fascinating, something that I think the first time that Shepherd will be hosting this particular Bridging Innovations, is it? And it's been, and Amber and Jim will tell us all about it, but it's going to be a very interesting, I think a fascinating 4 or 5 days at Shepherd.
Jim is the assistant professor of business administration at the school, and Amber is the director of innovation. So welcome you both to the program. Thanks so much for being with us. And Jim, tell us about this program that's going to be taking place.
And so in the state of West Virginia, we have put together, largely thanks to Amber and her group, a loose group called the Entrepreneurship Ecosystem. And so it contains a lot of different elements. You could think of funders, resource providers, and entrepreneurs throughout the state, and state organizations as well, and state entities. So once a year, they put on the Bridging Innovation Week. It travels around the state. We put in at Shepherd, we put in the RFP, and we're able to get it in the Eastern Panhandle this year.
So where do you expect people to be coming from for this? Is it all corners of the state? Is it even outside the state as well?
I'll let Amber answer here as well, but definitely it covers the whole state, and we will see people from around the country as well.
All right, Amber, go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So we really focus on the ecosystem being a statewide entity regardless of where Bridging Innovation falls each year. So we move it around the state, and this is the first time the Eastern Panhandle has hosted it. And thank you to Shepherd for being also our first university to host it. But we expect all around the state, and just given the proximity to the D.C. area, a heavy presence of some federal stakeholders as well as folks from different ends of the country that are working on rural ecosystem building.
And this will be April 21 through May 1 at the Wellness Center, Frank Center, the Butcher Center, the Bavarian Inn, and the Garage in Martinsburg is also one of the locations here. We have all those right?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Monday night, for example, they're going to host a welcome center here sponsored by a bunch of local entities, and from 7 to 9, if I've got the time right, at the Garage.
All right, very good. Go ahead, Maria.
So tell us, obviously, a little bit about the history of this program, and then what the intent is, what you try to accomplish with this particular week.
And I'm going to
Jim, you want me to take this one?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that question. The ecosystem started in 2019 with my co-chair, my current co-chair, Tara St. Clair, who works at West Virginia University's Encova Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and Bill Woodrum, who was at the time with Marshall University. And they recognized that, there are a lot of people working to support entrepreneurs in the state, but maybe those entrepreneurial support organizations weren't always aligned. We might have events on the same days. They might be duplicated services. So they thought, hey, let's all get into a room together and talk about how we can streamline this so that we're keeping entrepreneurs at the center of what we do. So it started way back then with just a shared Google Calendar, and it's since grown into a statewide effort of over 150 partners and thousands of stakeholders engaged annually. We have monthly meetings where over 100 people volunteer their time to get on and talk. So when Jim mentioned it's a loose network, it really is a coalition of the willing. It's grassroots. It's meant to make sure that no entrepreneur falls through the cracks, whether they're starting an idea or looking to scale it. And so Bridging Innovation Week, the first one was held, actually we did a virtual summit during COVID, and then the first one was held in Charleston 4 years ago. And since then, we've grown each year. We went to Wheeling, we've been to Huntington, and we're in the Eastern Panhandle this year. And I can't tell you next year, but we'll be announcing that on April 29th. If you want to come to this year's, we'll announce where our 2026 host site is. But the week itself is about bringing folks together, and we have a unique thing this year called Intentional Collisions, where we're making sure that entrepreneurs have the face time needed with the necessary partners like the legal counsel, the capital providers, the state government, to advocate for themselves, but also to be able to share best practices and help support the network that supports them.
You have a schedule, Amber. Would you go through that schedule from Monday through Thursday, please?
I'd be happy to. So on Monday, we are encouraging folks to come in early. We're offering 2 engaging pre-conferences that are hosted by our partners. So the first pre-conference is on acquisition, succession planning, and entrepreneurship. So we know we have a lot of aging business owners that are looking to sell their businesses, but they don't necessarily want to close them down. So that pre-conference will be hosted by several partners, including Whitewater Capital, Sunbelt Network, the Center for Employee Ownership, and it's sponsored by Huntington Bank. And then we have another pre-conference that's focused on building Black business in West Virginia and Appalachia, and that is sponsored by Marshall University Center for Economic and Community Development and Black Appalachian Isolated Communities. And then, as Jim mentioned, that evening we'll be headed to the Garage in Martinsburg. It's hosted by all the collective county CBBs, local chambers. They're going to highlight some of their Build Up Berkeley, different competition winners at the local level for introductory networking. And then Tuesday is kind of our big day. So that is the West Virginia Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Annual Conference. That morning will be, like I said, intentional collisions, where it's almost like speed networking, where you can schedule meetings with different individuals. There will be lots of hands-on workshops. And the formal program will kick off in the afternoon with an engaging conversation with a serial entrepreneur, Joe Kapp, who helped kickstart the ecosystem way back, and Dr. Chase Kempinski, who's pioneering some biotechnology and vaccines. We'll have a State of the State panel with state leaders such as the Honorable Chris Warner, Secretary of State. We have Secretary Matt Harridge representing the Department of Commerce, Mike Graney, and Senator Ben Queen having a conversation about what West Virginia's entrepreneurship priorities and potential look like. We're going to have an entrepreneur panel talking about what it's like to be an entrepreneur in the state and providing some advice to the folks that want to support them. And then we're going to wrap up with a conversation at the national level with some national organizations working to advance entrepreneur support, like Right to Start, the Institute for Justice's Cities Work Initiative, and Tech Point Indiana, which is pioneering some state-based ecosystem work in Indiana. So then on Wednesday, we have competition day, so that one's really fun. It's probably my personal favorite day, where you can come in and it's open to the public. You don't have to register. We'll be in the Frank Theater on Shepherd's campus. We start with Spark West Virginia, which is middle and high school pitches. We move into West Virginia Innovation and Business Model Competition, which is Marshall's collegiate competition. We move into Vantage Ventures Validation, which are seasoned scalable businesses pitching and demoing their ideas. And then we'll wrap up that day with Ignite West Virginia, which is the state's Shark Tank for anybody 18 and up that's interested in starting a business. And then we'll be doing a private awards ceremony at the Bavarian Inn. So we're really thrilled to be able to showcase that location.
Excuse me, Amber, let me interrupt very quickly.
Yeah, please.
For Wednesday, you have over $200,000 in startup funds that will be available for winners. Is that correct?
Yes, over 200,000. And you know what's really unique about this, and I think it's important to point out. So Ignite West Virginia, the West Virginia Innovation Business Model Competition, Spark West Virginia, they're all non-dilutive funds, which means that money goes straight to the entrepreneurs with no equity taken so that they can get the essential materials, support, technical assistance that they need. So it's really unique because there's no equity. The entrepreneurs don't lose anything to us. They do nothing but gain in that event.
So let me ask this then, Amber. I noticed there are some sponsors listed. How's the rest of it funded? Where's that come from? Is it grants or private businesses support this, a combination of both, or what?
Yeah, I thank you for asking. We have an incredible network of, I wouldn't just say sponsors, I would say champions. A lot of our catalytic funding has come from the Benedum Foundation. They provide an annual operational grant, and we're working on building out some sustainability at the state level to move that forward. But Bridging Innovation Week itself each year is a fundraising effort where anybody that's a partner in the network, so we have the West Virginia Department of Economic Development contributes annually. Benedum contributes annually. The Encova Center contributes annually. So we have several sponsors that contribute annually, and then it does become kind of a unique web of fundraising from the host area that we're going to.
Bridging Innovation Week is coming up April 28th through May 1, locally here in the Eastern Panhandle. Bill, you were about to ask.
Yes, I cut you off, Amber. You still have one more day to describe for Thursday.
Yeah, I'll go real quick. So Thursday is Entrepreneurship Education Day, and we bring hundreds of students to our host site. So we will have hundreds of middle and high school students on the Shepherd campus. We'll talk about entrepreneurship, what it is. We'll do some design thinking workshops. And then, Jim, do you want to tell them about your pitch competition on that day?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the middle of that day, we have been holding a competition, financial planning and business idea competition at the high school level. So any juniors or seniors in the whole area, the Eastern Panhandle Plus, are eligible. Basically, they have to submit a very short essay to a website. We have a link on that on the Entrepreneur Bridging Innovation Week, or we have it on Shepherd campus as well. And what happened is they submit that. We'll pick out some winners to advance to the next round. And during lunch on that day, we will have a pitch competition for up to $5,000 worth of scholarships to attend Shepherd University in one of the business programs.
I want to talk about that for a second, Jim, if we could, and Amber, pitch in with anything you can add to this, too, because some of the great entrepreneurial stories we've heard in this country, especially over the last 25, 30 years with computers and the internet and such, have come from college kids. Some of whom didn't complete their educations, many of whom did, but they've come out of that incubator, so to speak, and it's led to some great things. What can we continue to do at the college level to encourage these people with great ideas to continue to go down that path?
So my first thing is to compliment a lot of the young people. Some of us at this age tend to think negatively, and there's some wonderful things going on. So as a perfect idea, during this competition, we have a young couple. They're 17 and 18. They're working on putting together a smoothie truck. At that age here in the Eastern Panhandle, that they'll be there. I have another young gentleman working on a beekeeping business. Have another young lady working on baking cookies for special dietary requirements. And so these are just examples. Mm-hmm. And I know Amber's got some great examples that have come through this ecosystem. And I think just introducing them to as a topic. And we're going, the reason this is set all the way up to back to middle school is to start getting them to think that way. Probably the most important message I would have is there's nothing guaranteed. We're understanding that right now. You are not going to go to work for a company or an organization and be there for 50 years. That just doesn't exist anymore. Right. And you need to be able to have the skills to maybe go do things yourself. And
I think people understand, especially anybody who's ever either started or worked in or been part of a small business, just how difficult sustaining is. I mean, you start out, you've got just an incredible drive and desire, and then you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, how do I keep going? How do I continue? So clearly a program like this is one that will incite and excite young people especially.
And there is a balance. We have to get them excited, and then we have to deliver realism at the same time. And so that's definitely part of this. And in some ways, the competitions do this, but we definitely teach. This doesn't work. Figure out the next idea, and we could go on to some of the entrepreneurs you've talked about. Mm-hmm. I think Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, he was turned down more than 200 times for funding.
Sure.
I could go on to other famous people. Walt Disney, he failed 4 or 5 times before he got going. And so it's part of the process, and it's an important part to teach that is absolutely what happens.
Amber?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's kind of I think you spoke right to the mission of the ecosystem is it's one thing to engage them, get them excited about the ideas, and it's an entire other support topic to be able to have them continue on those paths. And so that is the goal of the ecosystem, is that every entrepreneur knows that it's not a solo journey. Yes, they have to grind and they have to put in the work, but there is a network of folks that are there to support them, and we want to make sure that they stay in work and they view West Virginia as an opportunity for them to thrive and grow. So we're seeing a lot of change in mindset, but also a lot of change in the momentum and the economic growth in our regions because of this focus on it's an ecosystem, you're not doing it alone.
What are some common characteristics entrepreneurs have in common with others? Amber, you want to take that first?
Sure. I think, West Virginia as a people are very gritty and resilient people. We tend to naturally problem solve and think about ways of moving forward and having a positive outlook. And I think entrepreneurs really embody that. They are constantly seeing West Virginia's unique challenges as opportunities and kind of moving forward in ways to be able to create solutions for the state. And I think everyone in West Virginia is that way. We're always looking to better ourselves, and I think entrepreneurs really embody that entrepreneurial spirit that West Virginia has always had and always will have.
Jim?
Yeah, and I want to add to that, definitely a sense of work ethic. You're not going to be an entrepreneur with a work ethic. And the second thing is get excited about something. If you're excited about something, pursue it. And then we do have a problem in the country, and actually a lot of the developed world, where the very smartest among us are not going into entrepreneurship, and it's a real issue. And so we need to encourage that at this level and every other level. As well. So I would put those 3 things together.
Do you ever have to say to someone who comes to one of these events, okay, maybe that's not the greatest idea, like a snow cone business at Snowshoe? I'm just, something
We got you.
crazy. But do you ever say, maybe you need to refocus what it is you're passionate about?
Yeah. Do you provide that kind of guidance to move somebody into a direction or another?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the models we use will start with, guess what? We're not starting with my idea of the snow cones. We're starting with the people at Snowshoe. We're starting with the people at Snowshoe, then we're looking for an issue at Snowshoe, and then we're looking at how the things we care about and the passions can deliver something to them. So that's an important part of the process. Now, with that said, I could give you names of founders that were told by college professors they were crazy. There's quite a few of them.
The FedEx guy, right? That's a prime example. This will never work.
This will never work. And so I never, ever want to do that because I might just be wrong. So snow cones might work. They might work.
Maybe we turn it to hot chocolate. I don't know.
But we can put them through a process, and we can help them, support them through that process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amber, Jim, you've given us a lot of information. Are there some links that the people can go to look at both the Bringing Innovation Week and also an entrepreneurship ecosystem? I'll get it out in a second. Information they can find more about either one of these.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best place with all of that information in one go is West Virginia on eShipEcosystem.com. So it's WVEShipEcosystem.com. We know entrepreneurship's hard to spell, so we're just going to bypass that for the public. So WVEShipEcosystem.com. And if you're interested in looking at the wealth of resources that are available across the state, West Virginia Business Link, which is a resource platform that's managed by the Department of Economic Development, is fantastic for entrepreneurs looking for support. So those would be the two links that I would uplift: WVEShipEcosystem.com and West Virginia Business Link.
What's your attendance typically been for these in the past, Amber?
Across the week, we have over 1,000, and we typically have anywhere between 200 to 300 each day at the event.
And so, signed up right now, Amber, registered right now. Where are you? Can people still pick and choose? And is there a cost associated with that?
Yes, so the registration is still open. We are in the middle of our big push, so we would love to get folks registered. The only day that has a cost associated with it is Tuesday's conference day, and the registration cost is $40. We try to keep it very reasonable. We have great sponsors that make it accessible for entrepreneurs so that we're not outpricing the individuals that need support. But everything else is free. We do ask you to register just so we can cover our food costs. But, yep, the only day that has a cost is Tuesday.
So, Amber, you're Director of Innovation. Is this a year-long job? Do you travel and do a lot of these, or is this something you do this week and you do something else the rest of the year? Help me out on this one because I'm ignorant of the whole thing.
Absolutely. So myself and Tara are the co-chairs, and that is a heavily a volunteer effort. Benedum supports a little bit of our time to be able to do the monthly calls, and but the majority of our work is within our home institution. So the Adventure Group is K-12 education. I typically work with students around entrepreneurship education, workforce career readiness, and then Tara works in statewide entrepreneurship outreach. But yeah, we're volunteers for this role. We just do it because we believe in the good work of the ecosystem.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So is there an example of this? Has this been going on long enough yet that you have an example of someone who came through this and then made it to the next level and succeeded at something like this?
Yeah, I can point to two actually, and if you attend the Tuesday, April 29th opening session, the fireside chat with Dr. Chase Kempinski, his growth is actually a direct result of meeting Joe Kapp at the first one in Charleston, and he has now presented at the World Vaccine Congress in Europe on his pioneered research. So he's a perfect example, but we also have founders like Iconic Air that have raised millions in Series A funding, and they started at WVU and moved through the ecosystem, and they are now, they've been funded by Country Roads Angel Network. They're kind of the first test of what an ecosystem can support. So Iconic Air, who's really grown over the last 5 years, is a great example as well.
Oh, great. Thank you.
You mentioned Country Roads Angels Association. They're going to be part of the Wednesday symposium. Would you
Yes.
talk more about that group, please?
Sure. Country Roads Angel Network, they're doing their annual member meeting on Wednesday at the Bavarian Inn. It is an invitation, but if you are interested, you can always shoot me an email at ravenscroft@edvgroup.org, and I can get you in contact with them. But Country Roads Angel Network is the state's first angel venture capital network, so it is a network of individuals that have funding that they like to give, and they come together to collectively fund businesses from the Mountain State that they feel are viable. So that is a kind of a grassroots angel network fund.
And Rob, I think Scott Widmeyer will be on in the next couple so weeks talking specifically about Country Road Angel Network. So.
All right, very good.
Great.
Amber, thank you very much. I appreciate your time this morning. And wish you the best with this conference coming up April the 28th. And again, how do you register for it?
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure. You can register at wveshipecosystem.com for all 4 days.
Jim, thanks for coming in. Any final thoughts from you?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody here to getting the word out. This is definitely an opportunity to showcase the Eastern Panhandle, as well as for people in the Eastern Panhandle to connect with the rest of the state.
Well, good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.